Am I live? I'm looking. Hello, everyone, or whoever is going to be here. Welcome to The Brand is the New Black show. Oh, we're inviting friends. Oh, what is this? Okay, here we go. Hi, everyone, and welcome to Brand is the New Black. When you come, say hello to me so I can say hi to you and let me know. I did this kind of last minute, but I've been wanting to do this. Oh my gosh, everything is going wrong. Alfred is like running about the cabin, being crazy. You can see his, do you see his Cadillac back? Where am I pointing? Oh, there we go. His Cadillac. That's his little stroller he goes in. Anyway, you don't care about that stuff. You care about branding. So today we're going to be talking about a couple of things. We're going to be talking about the Dove Beauty campaign. We're going to be talking about Columbus Day, and we're going to be talking about marketing yourself when you hate marketing. So also, if you have any questions or comments or concerns or things you would like for me to talk about during this live show, let me know. All right. Hi, Brenda. Yeah, tell me hi when you come in. So let's talk about Dove from a branding perspective. So one of the things you have to know when we're thinking about and considering what's happening with Dove is the fact that these companies don't really care about anything, right? So in case you've not been in an advertising environment, what happens is that there's a product that gets presented. They're like, okay, we've got this product we need to sell. How are we going to sell it? What does our target market want? What are they looking for? What are they thinking about? And they'll create whatever message aligns with what they're thinking in their research. So a lot of people are pointing to the fact that Dove has all these beauty campaigns, all these feminist messages over the last year or two. So how could this happen? How could we have a campaign that looks like that? And the fact is that Dove doesn't really care about feminism. They don't care about women. They don't care about fat people. Like all these things that they claim to care about, they don't care about any of it. Basically, all that happened is that somebody came in during one of these meetings and was like, you know what's hot? Feminism, right? Feminism is hot. Body positivity is hot. Have you been on Instagram lately? That's all anybody's talking about. And so they built campaigns around that. So that's what's important to know, is that when we're looking at these campaigns and we look at people who are branding things, they're not branding for passion. These big companies don't care. They're just branding according to what they feel like is going to be popular. So that's kind of how you can have a company that has these like body positivity, these really, actually really well executed feminist ads, and also have the ad that we saw come through this weekend. Because, you know, this is when we talk about brands not having integrity. Because a lot of times people come to me and they're like, well, I want to make sure that I'm marketing with integrity and I want to make sure that I'm doing things that people want or whatever. And if you really believe in your product, then something like what's happening with Dove will never happen to you because you actually care. The whole reason why this happened is because Dove doesn't care. And that's really, really important when we look at these campaigns and these people, because people are going to keep putting out feminist campaigns, body positivity campaigns, inclusion campaigns. This is what happened to Pepsi, right? Pepsi thought that they could put together this campaign that was going to make everybody like, oh my gosh, look at us, we're so inclusive. We love people of all colors. But it backfired on them because they didn't know what they were doing and they don't care about it. And so that's really the lesson here when we're crafting campaigns for our brand or whatever we're doing. If we're trying to create something that has a deeper meaning, if you don't actually care about it, stuff like this happens where it blows up in your face because not everybody's on board and not everybody sort of believes in it because it's just kind of trendy. It's not actually something that people are looking at. So is the Dove campaign racist? How did this happen? Honestly, I'm not sure. You would think that Dove but I mean, like, we've accused Dove of stuff like this before. Like, they have stuff like this. And so it's not really news. But considering the fact that they're working with Shonda Rhimes and some of these campaigns are happening, one second. Alfred, come here. Come here. Come here. Don't eat your bed. He's eating his bed. So you would think that, come sit down, that they wouldn't do this at this point, considering that. But I guess You know, when you have a company that doesn't care, that's only about money, and that's all they really care about, and it's a message that doesn't really resonate, and it's not really something that they believe in, then you're going to have these campaigns come through that are racist, because at the end of the day, this company's overriding thought is that it's just about money and whatever message they think is going to have money. I mean, the conspiracy theorist in me feels like this might have been a little bit on purpose, just to sort of like show kind of the fact that, you know, well, they want attention because now everybody's talking about Dove, right? So I think that it might have been a little bit of both. I guess we'll have to see what kind of happens. But that's sort of my position on the Dove thing, is that the reason why this happens to companies like Pepsi, Dove, everyone, is because they don't really care about feminism or, you know, body positivity. They just want the money that is possible when you sort of message to those things. So that's exactly what it is. So that's kind of all I care about with the Dove thing, because I mean, you just can't take this is happening in our industry too, right? So if somebody has always been talking about one thing and all of a sudden they're talking about activism, then do they really care about activism, or is it something that they think is going to get them attention? And the problem is that it works, because this is the power of branding, is that you have these messages that you can craft and you can put together, and if you put them together well enough, they're going to attract an audience. That's what a message does. So it works, but you also can't be surprised when that stuff happens. So I'd love to hear what you guys do. Bad publicity is still publicity for a lot of folks, for sure. Yeah. I'm not sure. It seems really stupid. It seems like they were considered kind of a face for the feminism in beauty products, so it seems stupid to me that they would do this, but whatever. So that's Dove. Does anybody have any comments about Dove that you want to talk about or anything? But that's kind of what wants to inspire today's show, is just this idea of crafting stories, crafting narratives, and the power of message from a branding perspective. And that brings us to Columbus Day. So Columbus Day is today. And Christopher Columbus is one of those people who was not a good person. He did all these bad things, but he has a holiday and all this stuff. And it's another kind of thing where a story has been created to color an event or color something. And one of the things that my clients always complain about is the fact that they know of bad products or bad services or bad people who are like no good, but they have great reputations and they have a great sort of like, you know, the buzz around them is positive. And just like Christopher Columbus, a lot of it is about the stories that get told, like what is the leading message around the brand. That's what kind of dictates how people perceive a business. So let's see. I wonder who designed and executed that campaign. I've had a man for a white female, or maybe a white or man or a white female do it. They might have had good intentions, but very poor execution. You know, the thing about the Dove campaign, sort of going back to that really quick, is that I don't understand what the intention was. Like, I looked at the ad a bunch of times, and there's not really any way to not see it that way. I think it just doesn't make sense. It just doesn't make sense, or in my opinion. But yeah, so that's kind of going back to Christopher Columbus, the biggest thing is stories that get told about an event. Because when you grew up in school, all you heard was that he came and he did all this or whatever. But as you got older, you heard the real stories of what Christopher Columbus did. And again, that's exactly what happens with campaigns and marketers and stuff, is that they kind of put together a narrative that they want you to hear and listen to and see. And it's from that narrative that people's perception comes up of whatever product it is. You know, and again, if you use this in reverse from a bad way, you know, Pepsi, this kind of backfired because they wanted to create the story around their brand of inclusion and look at us. And because of the way it was executed, it backfired. And now people see Pepsi as the complete opposite. Do you get what I'm saying? So that's kind of why messages are so important, and that's why a lot of times when people complain about this stuff and they're like, well, this person is whatever, I'm like, you know, what you need to learn from whoever this person is how are they crafting their story? How are they taking control of their narrative so that whatever they want people to perceive them as is how they are perceived. So from a kind of it's all PR and it's all branding. And the good news about this, and the way you can sort of use this for good in your business, is in your life, is to create a really compelling, solid story around yourself and your offerings and what you do, so that you can kind of create a vibe of positivity without it being fake or like out of integrity. A lot of times people who offer things, they don't create a story at all because they are so scared to look like they're swarmy or look like, they don't have integrity or whatever, so they don't say anything. And that's even worse, because you want to have people feel some type of way about the work you do. Yes, growing up in PR, our schools taught us the reality of Puerto Rico with what he did. Yes, then you know exactly that. So that's kind of what is really how branding and what the show is about, Brand is the New Black, why all this stuff is so important, because it makes it so that somebody like Christopher Columbus, who was a horrible person who did horrible things, has a positive life and has a day sort of devoted to him, versus, when we shouldn't really be celebrating him at all, and it's all spin and it's all story. Even what we saw what happened with Las Vegas in the shooting and the way that he was framed, the story that was around him, he was a lone shooter, he was this, he was da-da-da-da. It's really the NRA. It's like, this is kind of me being super like whatever, but it is, a conscious effort to minimalize and make sure that the story is spun in a specific way that serves certain people. So controlling the story is really, really important when we look at sort of branding and how all that happens. So how can you do this for yourself, or how does this work for yourself? And that's kind of what gets us into the final story, which is marketing yourself and promoting yourself. So the big thing that we can learn from these two stories that I just told you about Christopher Columbus and Dove is that it's not about the product, it's not about anything, it's about the story, it's about the message. And so from a marketing perspective, the only thing that you have to worry about with marketing yourself is that marketing doesn't have to be, or promoting yourself doesn't have to be sort of this far and away thing that you do. It's meant to just be something that helps people understand what your story is. It's basically just kind of your brand in motion, which people don't get. I think people think that marketing is like this separate beast that's just like evil, but it's just about showing people and telling people what you are and what you do. One of the things that always happens on my threads, because I literally this happens every single time, is I'll ask a question about something I need, and then people will come out their woodwork being like, I do this, I do this, I do this. And I'm like, what are you even talking about? I've never heard this before. This has happened multiple times. And then all of a sudden, everybody's on the thread like, oh, I need that, I need that, I need that. And then all of a sudden this person's getting business, and it's happened multiple times. And it all came from me asking the question that's related to my problems, and me creating a story that showed, okay, I need this. This is my story. Who can help me? And that's really all marketing is supposed to be. It's about taking a question that your client has and showing them that you're the one who can solve it. There's no way for you to be able to get clients if you're not doing that. And so when you're thinking about your marketing, instead of thinking of it like, oh, I have to Instagram or I have to Facebook or I have to do all these things and it's such a drag, instead think of it as, what can I do to let somebody know that I'm here for them? What can I do to let somebody know that I'm the person for them? That's what Dove was trying to do before this whole crap fest. They were like, hey, listen, you need soap. You're a woman. Why not buy your soap from somebody who wants you to be exactly who you are, who has your best interest at heart, and all that stuff. That's all that Dove was trying to do before this campaign hit. And that's what all businesses, all agencies are trying to do. So for you, that's all you have to do as well. It's just look at whatever you're offering and ask yourself, what's the best way for me to showcase what I can do for people? So I can just use myself, for example. This show, Brand is the New Black, it's the best way to show people who need branding what it is I do, how I do it, and how I can help them. It's just, this is the best, this is a really good way for me to show that I understand the concepts that I'm talking about. And this doesn't require me to do a lot of stuff. It's just me showing up and doing my thing. So you want to think from a marketing perspective, how can you show up and just do your thing and communicate that you are a solver of somebody's problems versus making it this sort of like big, complicated, crazy, like, oh, but like, I don't want to be this, I don't want to be that, I don't want to be this. Just present it. And then some people, it's just as simple as just telling people what you do and promoting yourself. This is a huge problem with especially the woo industries and all the people who are in self-development and stuff, is that they just don't realize that the problem is not that they're, you know, that they're bad at marketing. It's just that they're not actually telling people what story it is that they should be paying attention to. They're not telling people what the big idea is. And so that's basically how you market yourself, is you sort of figure out whatever you do, whatever sort of platform, and only choose one. You don't want to have a lot of platforms that you're playing with. How can I show up and show people that I'm here for them? Literally, just like tattoo that on your arm. How can I show up in a way that makes people know that I'm here for them? That's it. And if you do that and you're in integrity and it's something that you're really passionate about, again, we learned that from Dove, that we don't want to just latch onto messages because they're there. We want to pick things that are really things that we're passionate about. And if you do that, that's basically how you market yourself. And that's all you do. And I know that it seems like that's simple. That's essentially it. And if you try to choose a marketing channel or a way of promoting yourself that doesn't feel natural, it won't work. So for example, I've tried to be really good at Pinterest for a long time, and it's just not my platform. You know, I work best in live platforms, interactive platforms, stuff like that. So that's what it is. And that's basically all I have for today's episode of Brand is the New Black. Let me know how you guys felt about it, what you think, what you thought about it, what you'd like to talk to me about. And I guess if you guys have questions, if there's anybody still here, if you have questions or not even a good intention, yes, like the Dove campaign, what was the intention? I'm not sure. Yeah, let me know if you guys have any questions or comments or concerns. I will, if you want to sort of learn more about branding, you can go to heyshanae.com. I have lots of posts about branding there. I have a quiz that you can take to learn about what your brand is. I can put that in the comments eventually. Is there anything else? Anybody else have any questions about branding or business or anything else? I want to keep this under 20 minutes. I really wanted to keep it under 15 minutes, but new. All right. That is it for this first episode of Brand is the New Black. I will talk to you guys later. Bye.